Sup, everybody? This is Karak with ACG, and welcome to an episode of First Moments. Now, what is that? That's where I grab a game that I'm interested in, we jump into it, and I just show you what it's like in the first little bits and play some. It could be 5 minutes, it could be 30 minutes, it just all depends. What I'm going to do today is Kona Day 1. This is Day 1 in the game Kona. It's coming in 4 parts, so it is technically episodic. Now, I don't know much about this game other than the fact that it is a story about a detective in the 1970s who's exploring wrongdoings in Canada. So just switching out my aspect ratio here. Now, originally I did try to play this about 2 weeks ago, but the frame rate was atrocious, 7 to 8 frames per second. They were aware of it, they updated it, and now it's running much better, and it's anywhere from 30 to 60. I'll probably try to get that locked at 30 so we can just move forward. A lot of people may have an issue with that, but let's be honest, this is very early, and so optimizations are not in. It's something that I think we should all expect. I'm going to leave most of these settings high and try to get it at around 30. Level of detail I want to do as high as possible. Of course, I'm running the 5820K at 4.4 gigahertz as well as the GTX 980. All right, good enough for government work. So a little bit survivalism, a little bit detective, a little bit just sort of crazy town is what I've been told Kona is about. So I want to check it out. I apologize, I could have done this a couple days ago, but frankly I was just too busy reviewing one of the buggiest games ever, Alekine's Gun. It took place of this. You're playing an early access version. Journal and photography mechanics are being revamped. That's cool. Give you a little heads up. As always in titles like this, especially for the first moments, if there is a cutscene or characters, any kind of vocals, I'm going to be quiet so that you guys can hear that. Oh, press button so that you guys can hear it.
Carl Faubert, private detective, had just traveled thousands of kilometers from Montreal to reach this remote, middle-of-nowhere area situated near the far northern Lake Atimabec.
What?
Granted, that was a great distance to cover for a sole client, but word had it that he was a particularly wealthy one.
It almost sounds like a mechanical voice. I can't tell if that's a person or Microsoft speak to text or text to speak. It sounds like a speak and spell. Okay, gotta get used to the buttons here. That just goes into the system. Let me see. So the graphics, level of detail, view distance. I'm gonna turn the field of view just down a little bit. I wanna get this thing at about 30 frames per second. And we'll change back to SSAO. Screen space ambient occlusion isn't gonna be as hard on the graphics card. And of course, this is early, guys, so I'm being honest. I got to make sure you guys understand that this is so early.
Drive a bit further north in order to meet with wealthy industrialist William Hamilton.
It's so early we should expect it to have issues, is what I'm saying. Oh, I like that. Grab a little map, zoom in. Okay, I got to figure out. Oh, there we go.
William Hamilton was a prosperous owner who had acquired various businesses, as well as metal mines in this northern region.
Artistically, it's funny because there is a little bit of a mix here in many ways with Firewatch in the graphical stylings they chose. I'm going to turn off that depth of field. Sorry, guys. I hate depth of field if it's done incorrectly, and this one is it's just far, far too aggressive. All right, what's this?
Carl, always diligent in his work, always carried his log on him, in which he scribbled down thoughts and leads alike during the course of his investigations.
Okay. So waiting for the general store, easy enough. Well, matches. Okay, cigarettes. Can't grab that. Just gonna look around here. Yeah, graphically, that pastel look that Firewatch chose artistically is sort of mimicked here, but just in a different style of coloring. But it's still got that same. There's something about it, that pastel that you get. Now I'm gonna turn off bloom, and let's go with. I don't want to mess with the draw distance. Even though the V-Sync's at... Yeah, that'll be good enough. I always like to make sure I can at least get it locked at 30 for these, PC games that are unoptimized, especially a lot of people just don't understand that it doesn't matter how much power you have to throw at a game. If it's unoptimized, you can get a low frame rate regardless. And these guys have been very open about it. I think I might adjust the resolution. Let's
Carl, not knowing what lay on the other side of the bridge. Needed to make sure he wasn't leaving anything behind.
Okay. One thing I do like is, I'm telling you right now, this almost feels like it's a virtual reality game. And I don't know if that's because it's got a wider vertical view than I'm expecting, but there's something slightly odd about the way it looks that makes me think that, oh, there we go.
Carl's long-standing and faithful ally.
Yeah.
I've seen his share of husbands caught red-handed cheating. There's always something out there waiting to be snapped away.
Let me see if I can
When removed from civilization.
take a picture of this bridge then. I did. Okay, again, a little bit like Firewatch. Now, if anybody sees this, I want to stop you in your tracks right now if you're like, oh, this is just like Firewatch. They were copying. Kona was announced a long time ago.
Down to business.
Like it might have been announced sometime around the same time Firewatch was announced. Oh yeah, VR. I'm telling you guys right now, VR, this would actually be really cool.
Hamilton enjoyed a lavish country house built in the very heart of the northern forests, not too far from here.
Ooh. All right, so I think we just step on the gas and we'll get there.
Came to the affluent man. Some saw a wealthy philanthropist dedicated to improving the region's economy. Others, an aging Englishman who would do anything to further his fortune. And these ones hated him enough to go on about scheming against him.
Just some information there. Oh, got a snow starting.
Carl was not made aware that winter would come early this year. The North made clear who was the boss up there. Snow, which didn't care much about the date when it felt like dumping its first load of the year.
Just like me, I just don't care about the date if I'm dumping a load. You know, I don't know. There's some issues with English translation.
But the last straw was the reopening of a mine, which gave rise to a wave of protests and threats from the Cree people.
Guys, I'm sorry, I'm driving with the keyboard, and it does have a little bit of a twitch, almost like a sway that the car does. And I just want to make sure I don't crash the car and have to restart all this. So it's going to look a little bit twitchy. That's very cool. Oh, whoa.
In these circumstances, Carl reckoned that a good number of people must be feeling compelled to oppose Hamilton in one way or another. So far, only the industrialist's house had been a target. But soon enough, Carl thought, the target would become the man himself.
Yeah, that narration's terrible. I mean,
Several hectares of
speak and spell.
forest blanketed in eternal snow. The Manistad region, comprised mostly of bellowing caribous and inviolate lakes, wasn't exactly touristic. It was said that its lands had harbored the Cree people for thousands of years. But since the Industrial Revolution, it seemed that all they harbored were metal mines. Very few souls claimed the territory surrounding Lake Atamibe. It could barely be called a village, an enclave, or a settlement perhaps. Anything that illustrates middle of nowhereness bordering the backwoods of the Cree Kingdom.
I can see a lot of people having a problem. Okay, what did we find? General store. I can see a lot of people having a problem with the narrative just because he does it so much. It's hard to concentrate.
Provided the populace with various goods that couldn't be plucked from nature itself. William Hamilton had recently taken over the place. In fact, the whole region was now his.
Jesus, yeah. But one thing I did like when we were driving is the 3D layering of the snow and blizzard. You know, like bad movies, sometimes a video game won't handle its weather very well, and you'll have that rain that looks like it's just surrounding the car. And that's, of course, a cheat. A lot of games and companies will try to do that so that they get some frame rate back. But here, this looks like a real storm, I mean, as far as the eye can see, and I really dig it. Very atmospheric. And again, I think this would be a very friendly VR title. So I'll have to check to see if they're doing that.
Week to fill the bottles. The fresh milk indicated a recent visit.
Okay. Close that.
The milkman had
whoops.
to drive by every week to fill the bottles. The fresh milk indicated a recent visit. Whatever happened here, things got pretty rough, and not a trace of Hamilton.
Yeah, I just don't get this narrator at all. It's completely confusing to me. It's in your face so much. I'm going to turn the music down, by the way. It's a sort of a blanket now of sound. But you have multiple things going on. You got the sound of the game and all the stuff that you might be trying to do. And then you've got that narrator, and then you've got the music, and there's a lot there. Oh, I like that Ubisoft Fringe, where they do the font right over the top of the game world. What's this?
Gilles Lachance, Carl recollected, was the general store's manager.
I can't read that.
Should Hamilton not be available, he was the man to talk to. Or what if Hamilton had moved up his appointment with his physician?
Okay. Yeah, it's like there's a disconnect between the narrator and what I'm looking at sometimes for some reason. It's like, I don't know. It doesn't seem like you'd be able to play this, at least the first time, without a narrator. What is that news? Oh, there we go. It's like Doink the Clown's theme song from WWE just constantly playing. All right, pumps for gas. Some guy's probably sitting in back going, what is that dude doing?
The snowstorm pummeled everything in its path. Carl was not surprised when he heard no tone.
Just like the narrator's voiceover. There is no tone. Not 100% sure. Can I steal your cash? I guess not. I am supposed to be this good guy private detective. Not a lot of people are going to be happy you can see your feet, by the way. I know that's a big deal to some folks. Oh, here we go. Punch price, press sale, turn the crank, and punch machine if it doesn't work. All right. Easy enough. So let's, what's the button? There we go. All right, and then... Oh, of course. Oh, looky there. Easy enough. What's this? Okay, great. Here's a piece of paper you can't translate, and no reason why you're even looking at it. Merry Christmas. Just like a marriage license. Just sign it. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, the interactivity and the way the game is set up certainly does feel that way. And as I said at the start, it feel very VR fresh. And as I said earlier, it's also got a Firewatch feel to it. So, and again, this game was announced a long time ago, so I wouldn't really get on them for having some of the same elements as Firewatch. They've definitely gone with that color scheme, as I said, to sort of a pastel. But it definitely seems like things are set up a little...
Oh. Out in the open like this? Was Gilles Lachance that careless?
I don't know. Was Gilles Lachance that careless? Like, I don't know. It's just a really odd voiceover. And it also seems like it's recorded in a different place. You guys might have seen the Alekine's Gun review I did, where I talk about how a sound recording needs to sound like it's recorded in the location that you're going to play it.
Picture of the Magasin Lachance store, seemingly taken the day it was first opened. It feels frozen in time, from an era long forgotten. Because
basically what this sounds like is he's calling on a telephone or radio.
Hunters showing some pride at having killed a nice pelted beast. With men like this roaming the area, wolves would become extinct within 10 years, Carl thought. Jumping from that height was akin to tempting death. Perhaps that man on the snowmobile had seen enough of this world already.
Yeah, I don't know if that's a non-native English speaker or it is one of the newer text-to-voice systems, but it certainly doesn't pause, and it pauses when it shouldn't. There's no inflections on some of the words, so it'd be like me reading you guys another language that I don't understand, but I can read the words perfectly, and so I wouldn't know the hesitations that are inborn in native speech in whatever language. And that's sort of what sounds like is going on there. I gotta say, I love the outdoor look.
But he could identify a wiring problem when he saw one.
So it looks like I already have tape, but I need something else. There's no highlights here, so I don't know what that other thing is. So I guess we'll just look for it. I'm missing it, 0 of 1. Whatever that thing is. Looks like pliers or something.
Carl proudly remembered an essential fact of his Survival 101 class in the Army. Wolves won't approach crowded areas. Or was it about bears?
Yeah. Such a disconnect between that voice and just the feel of the game world. It is really really an odd narrative style. I don't know about you guys, but I'm getting the HTC and I'm getting the Rift, and the graphics here, the way the world is sort of looks just right for VR. I really would love a game like this, trudging through the snow in VR. Very cool looking. What's this?
The punishing cold rendered the door frozen frozen tight. Carl saw no way to open it.
Okay. I always like to close doors behind me. Always gotta make sure nothing there. I'll look around one more time. No. Oh, okay, what do we got here? Turned off power? Okay. Oh, it's a generator, I see. Alright, so mains. Nothing there.
The note explained that both the garage and the store shouldn't be supplied with electricity at the same time.
Worst system ever. There we go. I don't see how that's going to help me at all. Cereal box.
The snowstorm pummeled everything in its path. Carl was not surprised.
I thought maybe I would have
no
maybe rebooting that or something with turning the power on and off. Probably a dumb idea.
By all appearances, the general store also served as a post office.
Okay.
Letters and packages awaited the locals' daily visit.
Oh, what the hell? Okay, I can interact with it. Take a picture? Okay.
Carl was used to strange phenomena, but a chunk of ice like this, as if an iceberg came out of the ground, that was a first.
Seems like they very prominent wolf track. Oh, there's another piece of glass. Okay, I might be on the right track now. More ice. Whoa, what the hell? Sorry, I thought I saw something moving to the left as well. What is this here?
Carl wondered what the hell could that thing be?
Carl did wonder that.
It looked like a man fossilized in ice.
Oh, shit.
All of a sudden, Carl felt like he was pulled inside a world of dreams. A cold, unknown dimension. Somehow, self-control was slipping from his grasp.
You know, they always tell you to show and not tell when you can do that, and that is not always an ironclad rule. It's like a lot like old sayings that people say, and whenever anybody wants to prove something, they'll quote this old saying, which actually, let's be honest, the world isn't black and white like that. But when it comes down to it, there are times like this where they're showing too much, I think, or telling too much.
Better yet, a war diary.
Yeah, it feels like he's just talking. He's just telling you everything that's going on. There's no moment. There's no silent reflection going on.
What could these engraved numbers mean? A fresh path suddenly appeared before Carl.
Like even that, he just said a fresh path. Well, I don't know if this is the right path, but it actually made me look elsewhere versus the path I had already seen. So even that kind of over-the-top narrative can end up confusing the player. There's just a lot going on here when it comes to the narrative. A little too much. I'd like a little bit more mystery, I think.
Carl had that feeling you get when you immerse your frozen hands in hot water.
What?
What happened? Now at least...
Who does
he knew
that?
who the unfortunate man petrified in ice was. Jill Lachance, the general store's manager
Jill.
himself.
Good name. Yeah, who does that? I mean, even the sayings are a little bit off. I don't know, maybe in some area a lot of people have cold hands and they thrust them into super hot water. I don't know. I've never done that. Okay, close that. All right, so, Not quite sure what the driver's license is going to help me with. Let me look at my objectives. Hamilton's at a doctor appointment. Oh, okay, great. Yeah, I forgot that I've got this. Okay, great. So we'll just go ahead and we'll go to the next building. No, that's not what I want to do. Oh, this is odd. Okay, gotcha. So it just jumps from spot to spot. Can't view that photo. All right. Let's go out. Oh, wait. Oh, there it is right there.
Finding the key is easy. Finding the right keyhole, not so much.
So before we go to the next, house, if we're able to, I'm gonna switch this power thing. Yeah, just in case that matters. And let's go into the garage with the key. These signals off to the left, snow in the eye. I'm assuming that means blindness and cold, I guess. But on the left there, yeah. So that no eye, I don't know what that means. I mean, I don't know why they're telling us that it's hard to see.
It sounded like an explosion had occurred in front of the store.
Yeah, it did. I'll go out there after I open up all these boxes and shit. Oh, what's that? Oh, okay. There we go. Pliers and looks like nails, maybe? It looked like duct tape, but then it came up and said it was nails. It is dark as hell in here. But I see that. I don't need it to tell me. Okay, great. So we heard some explosion. Let's go investigate that then. Awesome. My car's still there. That's all that matters. Or my truck. As long as my truck's still there. Oh. Wire came down. So, couldn't have been the phone wire, which already wasn't working. Yeah, we'll check to see. Most likely power, which means maybe that's... I got the pliers, so I can fix it, maybe. Let's go here. On, off. Let's go out here. Now let's see if... Okay, great. Oh, awesome. All right. And turn this to Jen. Oh, great. Power's back up. That was cool. That was a cool little tidbit there. And also, I'm enjoying it the less he talks, funny enough. The ability to just sort of experience this and play it versus him telling me what's going on. Okay. What's this? Stuck at 3. All right. Well, I think we'll go ahead and go to the next... building. I'm assuming I can go to the doctor's office or whatever here. Jump in. Let's go in here. I love how well they rendered this entire vehicle here. I don't know, as somebody who grew up with Chevrolets when I was a young kid and of all different kinds. My family had a couple different Chevrolets. I love how accurate some of that was inside there. Not perfectly accurate, but at least for what we had. Okay, so... Oh, that's weird. You can see the little... Okay, so you can see me spin. So, stay to the right to get to the first house. We'll just go to the first house. So stay to the right, and then it'll be the first left. Easy enough. Hopefully we can get past this tree. I think I can drive past it while inside of the parking lot. Oh, he looks behind him when you back up. Oh, real quick, guys. Where's my gas? Looks like my fuel's full. But real quick, I want to see if I can do anything with the gas. If this is going to be one of those games where you can gas up your car. Nothing there. Okay, nope, nothing there. Yeah, another thing I have to give them props for, at least so far, even though it's somewhat minimalistic, is the sound. Even the sound of this older style Chevrolet engine, but as well as the wind whipping and that snow sound. Just with good surround sound, this would be such a great title to just check out VR. They've got all of the hands in the proper places, being able to see your feet. It's very cool. So I'm just trying to line up where I am here. So the gas station, so just... How many are there? 1, 2... Okay. Let's do this. Let's do this. Oh, wait. Oh, I didn't want to get out. Okay, so there's an overlap of the buttons that's a little bit confusing here. And I'm not using a controller, which I probably should be. Yeah, I went too far. All right. My fault. The true story of how Karak went missing in the Canadian wilderness. Story at 5. All right. A little bit forward. All right. A little bit back. I like how he looks back, puts his arm up. It's very cool. All right, let's do this. Now we're back on track. Now we are. Take a sharp left. I also like the fact that this truck feels practically like a tank. It's like it doesn't matter what weather. We may not go fast, but we'll get there. Oh. I think... Wow. Okay, so the distance is scrunched. Pretty... Oh, yeah, the distance is really scrunched. I'm already there. Wow. Not what I expected. Okay, so let's crank this sucker. Sorry about your... Oh, just barely missed his little box there. Oh, yeah. So cool with the 3D effects of the snow. I mean, it looks... You know, graphically, they've done a good job of making the textures look somewhat realistic. But when you back away a little bit, there is a fully realistic feel to the game world.
Atmosphere surrounded the house. The soundlessness of the area suggested it was empty.
Oh, okay. Ooh, something weird happened in there, though. After playing Alekine's Gun, I got to close every door I come into. All right. I love the 1970s shades. Okay, so... Oh, hey, another...
The key, which seemed to be meant for a padlock, bore an inscription reading Cloutier and Sons. A company name. Better keep an eye open. Businesses weren't exactly numerous around these parts.
No, they weren't. Professor General Statement Man. It was a very interesting way of speaking. So, combined thread with nothing.
The coals were still warm. Someone must have been stirring them up.
What? Where? Oh, that's weird. You said that way early. Okay. Have they led precipitously? Yeah, that word. Like, nobody speaks that way. I don't know what's going on. I need logs. All right. And... Oh, my God. I remember playing with those as a kid. That's crazy.
Money in a jar. What a shame. Carl would have loved cookies.
What? Because Carl eats other people's shit. Carl will sneak in your house and steal your stuff. Carl is a kleptomaniac. Okay. Close that. I don't want to rack my shins on it. There we go. Whoa, I just took that? All right, cool. Got your alcohol right here, sucker. What is that? Wait, what? Oh, whoa, weird. Okay. Oh, that's creepy. Hockey card, Ted Harris. The reason why it was creepy is because the sound effect was a little bit messed up, and it actually sounded like it was behind me when I was on the first level. They didn't do the audio very well there.
A window left open in that weather? Perhaps something had to be watched. A window left open in that
okay,
weather?
we get it.
Perhaps.
Yeah, it's interesting because of the odd narrator and the fact that you're in Canada,
If
you know.
the blankets suggested people woke up precipitously, Carl saw evidence of a disorderly escape.
Those
So
were...
what was it?
Yeah, that wording is awesome. Precipitously. What was that? A bunch of hockey cards. When it comes down to it, a game like this, for many people, is actually going to be interesting for a couple reasons. I really like that your footprints are left there in the snow, but for a couple reasons. One of those is because it is slightly otherworldly, including that narrator who you're not quite sure if that's on purpose that he narrates in the way he does. Oh, what's this? Dust to Donnie stares in the void. He's coming, he murmured. Oh, shit. Oh, reminds me a little bit of Storm of the Century from Stephen King. No way. Anyway, the overall isolation that you see within the game world, as well as the uniqueness of the narrator and the fact that
And
sometimes...
darkness came. Astonishingly enough, the electricity had managed to endure all this time.
And shit like that right there. But there's a lot of otherworldly going on in this title, which I can see appealing to some people. Seeing your breath now coming out. That's cool. I'll have to check. This is my fault for this. I have not checked to see if this is a VR title, but they've certainly mimicked enough that makes me feel that maybe this is, you know, I guess I would say specifically prepared for VR, not necessarily made for VR. That's good texture work on some of these locations. Trees could be a little bit better, but shoot. Can't get in there. Can't see in. Trash? Oh, hey. We'll take your vodka bottle and just get roasted prior. Can't. I was thinking maybe I could jump up there, but I can't. Oh, it's a burrow. Well, there's the key, but I need some kind of wire. One thing, you know, I think we've already figured out is that you're going to be solving puzzles at different locations and going and returning back to them. So just because I don't have a key for a place doesn't mean I can't get it later. Just because, you know, it's definitely going to be a lot of traveling, which will be interesting to see if people feel like that's a lot of going over the same territory. Just trying to see if I have a crafting. I don't. Yeah, that looks very cool. Well. Check the tire swing. Just because.
The swing was a harsh reminder for Carl that he was walking through a desert town.
What?
Where did everyone go?
Walking through... Okay. So, just so everybody knows, he was obviously at that time supposed to say walking through a deserted town, not a desert town. So there is obviously some kind of translation issue going on, which makes me feel now that narrator is probably real and isn't a computer. You know, some of the newer text to voice is actually very, very well done and has the same lack of inflection at different points. But that to me seems like that's just the case of getting somebody who their you know, native language is in English. I like how he puts his hand in front of the heater there for a second to warm up his hands. So we're just going to go to the next building that I can find. It's funny because there's so many bits of otherworldliness in this title right now that it's difficult. I just want to make sure. Oh, what's going on? Oh, you have to really stop. Okay. I just want to make sure that I'm heading the right way. Which one should I go to? I guess go over the bridge, maybe, if that is a bridge. Yeah. So what I was saying is that when it comes down to really giving people a feeling of otherworldliness, many times people will use a snowstorm as isolationism. It's something that's used in you know, narrative and literature. It's used all the time as a way to isolate the reader, if it's a book, and of course now the gamer here in Kona. What I like, let's see, back up a little bit and go over. What I like about this is the otherworldliness of the location as well as the timeline. And the narrator is adding this unique sense of mystery. It's a little bit of a Twin Peaks kind of thing because you can't really tell if you're supposed to understand it or if it's supposed to make you question what's being said. Oh, don't crash. Okay. And I like that. Again, it could just be the fact that they just don't have a proper English-speaking person to do it. What did I just see? What in the... But it makes you question sometimes if what you're seeing is real, which I'm not even sure if the game's going for that. But I swear to God, I saw some... Yeah, it doesn't matter. Might have been a barrier to the game world, is what I saw. Which would be interesting that they... Oh, there it is again. And it goes away. It only shows up when you don't look at it. Okay, That's probably a barrier to a game world, but once again, because of all these unique, different things that the game's doing, some on purpose and some probably not, it made me question if I was supposed to be seeing that or if it was some kind of strange thing where I was noticing virtual reality breaking, that kind of stuff.
There should be a law forbidding doctors from falling sick.
What? Oh.
Finding a locked door in the country is not that big of a deal. Carl knew a key had to be hidden nearby.
All right, cool. Right under here. Okay. Negative. Okay. I'll carry these 2 logs everywhere I go now.
Finding a locked door in the country
Yeah, we get
is
it.
not that big of a deal. Carl knew a key had to be hidden nearby.
What about the back door? That's what I always ask. What about the back door? Nothing. Seeing that must be the world barrier for this demo that I'm playing, whatever, but it's definitely interesting how it sort of adds to that otherworldly bit. Looks like raccoons, wolves, something got in here. Definitely a barrier. Interesting. Just want to get in. I love the green mold along the bottom where snow drifts, of course, being wet, would be layered up against that wood and then over time would end up creating moss and mildew and placing that green stain on the wood. Very cool little attention to detail.
Goodwill, the place didn't look much like a physician's office. It could easily be mistaken for a sewing shop.
Okay, I don't know. Oh, hey. A little bit of a fire, not much light. Probably the realistic amount of light versus what most games would show you. So we're just going to look through his shop here. A lot of times when I've done Let's Plays, when I've done a review, preview, whatever, a lot of people have expressed the disinterest in the cupboard simulator, and I have to agree there, opening all those. I'm just going to look through these people's medical journal, or medical items. This is awesome. She refuses, she denies it. Should have an element child and syphilis on her hands. Oh man, that's awesome.
Hell with patient confidentiality. Carl wouldn't be able to track down his client without unveiling secrets.
There's a residence. Okay.
Now he knew where to find Hamilton.
I'm sure it's in my journal then. I was hoping it was going to give me... I'm just going to look through these again. I was hoping it would have pointed out what data I had just found. I'm assuming it's the residence address or whatever that's on this piece of paper. So,
Doctors used light-reflecting frontal mirrors to look inside the patient's cavities. That was a bit unsettling. But back then, it was pretty much always the case with medicine. The injured could be recognized by the large stains of red, an informal nickname given to Merbromen, smudged all over their injuries.
okay.
Dr. Beaupre had done his medical studies quite far from here. He was surely one of the first students out of the new campus to settle on the mountainside. A chamber pot. Fortunately for Carl, inspecting it wouldn't further this particular investigation.
Take some alcohol. Yeah, you know, it's really going to depend on if the game world is super interesting and if you start meeting other people, because if the game is just...
Get any more makeshift than this, Carl thought, astonished. Everything was improvised, including the examining table.
If the game is just this...
Who could really lie on this and expect a happy ending?
Where you're walking around and you're just looking through people's stuff, I'm going to be honest, I don't think I'm going to enjoy it too much.
The eye patch was the way to go.
I mean, I like the investigation,
Carl got
but...
the trembles as he imagined the excruciating pain that kind of scalpel could no doubt inflict. Within these miserable walls, patrons probably felt more like in a slaughterhouse than in a doctor's office.
Combined thread again. Yeah, I just feel like there's too much narration and not enough really good game design to move the player forward right now, at least. Just sort of meandering, looking through cupboards, which also means if you miss a single cupboard, you may end up missing an item. And I'm pretty sure I missed at least one cupboard in the old house that I was just in. And I don't really feel that that's good game design.
Only a great misfortune could have pushed a man like Dr. Beaupré to isolate himself from the world, far up north and buried in snow.
And that's another thing where it's obviously an urn, probably a family or something like that, but it's also where in many games when you click an item it tells you something about that item or it makes sense. Here I've noticed now a couple times where you click an item and the character or the narrator just simply talks and doesn't really tell you anything about that item or even make you understand that item's connection. But well, anyway, I think I'm going to end here. This is my first sort of experience with Kona. I do like its general look and the VR sensibilities that it has. I think that this would be a really enjoyable title in VR to see how it looks and works. I think that it's interesting in an otherworldly way, like a Twin Peaks way, where things are just a little askew. But right now, there's a lot of telling and not showing that's occurring in this title. And I think that for many gamers could end up being the difference between a title they really want to play and a title that they may end up passing up because it just sort of feels like it's a bunch of information, while you're grabbing things. And it's not necessarily a super enjoyable title, but we'll see. Right now, I like it. There's some fun stuff going on, and it's interesting, but I wouldn't say that I'm super drawn to it. So anyway, as always, if you guys like the video, hit thumbs up. If you dislike the video, hit thumbs down. Remember, you can share me on Twitter or come to the Patreon, or make sure you subscribe if you get a chance. If you decide you don't want to, I understand. As always, peace out. Let's back this fucker up. Turn this mother out. I want to try to go the other way before we end this. I want to see if that's really a cutoff. Let's go. Gun it. Oh yeah, it's a cutoff. Peace out.